What's up, friends? Welcome to another episode of Movement is Medicine. And today we have an extra special episode because we're going to introduce someone who is going to become one of your favorite new providers here at Head to Toe. Welcome. I got Dr. Annie and I got Ranim in the house. Ranim, welcome to the show. Today is it's kind of cool. We haven't had an episode here at the clinic where we've introduced a new practitioner and a new provider in a long time. I think Dr. James was our last when he joined the team.
Yeah, Dr. James joined us, I believe, 3 years ago now. Time just flies. Mm-hmm. And I'm just so thrilled to have Ranim here. When she started working for us as a student preceptor, in July, right?
That's true.
Yeah. She came in with Dr. Lee, and Dr. Lee is such an amazing educator and doctor. It was really, really fun to watch you grow underneath his teaching. The moment she walked in, everyone's like, Annie, are you gonna hire Ranim? Are you gonna hire Ranim? And I was like, oh, I'd love to hire Ranim, but I don't really have, room or capacity, and things have changed. So it's just, for me, is really, really happy to be able to have you come aboard the team.
I'm excited to come aboard.
Ranim, how did you meet Dr. Lee and kind of how you guys kind of got connected, and what about his methodology and teaching and passion that you guys started to vibe on or whatever?
Yeah, so I was looking for some practicum hours for my Master in Sports Med program. And since I moved back to Washington for my internships, I had to look for a practitioner who does sports med. And I came across Dr. Lee doing the rugby club athletic training.
And you were like, this is the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Lee's very technical. I mean, he's very personable, obviously. He's like easy to talk with, easy to know, but he's also technically very advanced. His technique, he knows a ton about a ton of stuff. And I can imagine when it comes to learning, it would be really cool to be with somebody who had such a breadth and depth of knowledge.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely opened up my eyes, like moving on from just the textbook experience, school experience, to actually seeing it being applied and connecting all together.
Yeah, especially kind of getting that perspective too of like working with an active sports team, because that's even a different subset in a different context than, say, the clinical work that we do. We're seeing, just that on the field, in the moment type of adjustments and treatment. And then, of course, coming in and doing some training in the clinic. Tell us about what that experience was like early on at Head to Toe.
It was interesting because it's not the ideal way that you think of chiropractic care. But at the same time, when I first moved on from school to internships, this is the idea that I had about chiropractic care, like being involving chiropractic care, soft tissue work, and exercise. That's the holistic part of the healthcare system that I was looking forward to practicing in. So I found it at Head to Toe, and I was surprised to not find it elsewhere.
Not that common, still the model.
It really isn't, which is, it continues to surprise all of us that it's not more available to people, this model. But yeah.
Well, if that's your passion, what you're interested in, I mean, you really found a pioneering clinic. That was like your vision over 20 years ago when you started out just your solo practice at the time. I know the story quite well. You had this vision of combining these different modalities into a place where patients could come and really get everything taken care of at once, because you recognized to treat the whole person, you couldn't just treat the spine. You couldn't just treat the neck, some of these classical chiropractic considerations.
Right. And this is with love of the chiropractic adjustment. I've been a patient of chiropractic my whole life. But for me, through my experience as a patient, recognized that intrinsic value of combining modalities together and how the adjustment is so powerful. But unless you combine it with the proper treatment of the tissues and then the rewiring, it just doesn't work as efficiently. But putting it together, it's a beautiful thing. Like, it's just, people get better so fast and completely, right? So they're not, I felt great for 2 hours and then I needed to be adjusted again, or, it didn't last or it didn't hold. This is why we're working with the tissue, so we get everything to hold. So really correcting the problem. So it was really fun when Ranim and I were discussing this foundation, and she came and said those same words to me that I said 20 years ago, is that we need to approach people with high-level sports medicine. We need to treat the whole body, and we need to combine all of these modalities to really get the job done and get it done correctly.
I agree.
So It was fun hearing her say those words that I hadn't told her yet, but that her passion really is just like ours, like our other providers here.
That's amazing. I mean, and so that was something that you recognized in school, like a gap. And then that was something that you were kind of looking for and passionate about and realized, wow, this is harder to find.
That's true. In my undergrad, I volunteered as an EMT in the Special Olympics. So I've seen what like healthcare should look like. And that's for people who have been injured and like in the for the Special Olympics. So in my head, I'm like, why can't we provide a similar level of treatment to our day-to-day people? Like, let it be a mom caring for kids, a grandma trying to crawl around with her grandkids. So that's the level of treatment that I was hoping to be involved in. People find a difference, gain their functionality back, and even gain more strength in their day-to-day activities.
Yeah, it's so gratifying, right? Because it's cool. I think working in, with specific sport athletes, people who are actively playing sports is also really fun and cool. And there's like unique challenges there. But it's also just really amazing to work with all of the people in our life, friends or family, all the people we know who are limited sometimes physically, or they're in pain or they get injured and they maybe try to get help or they're taking just, some medication when we know that if they get the right treatment plan, we can really move them from where they are to a completely different place.
That's true.
And that is exactly, so you're in the right spot.
I would say I'm lucky to be here.
Cool. So when it comes to onboarding a new practitioner, there's a little bit of a process, a little bit of a waiting period as you come fully online here at the clinic and as your hours are fully open and available. We'll continue to communicate out to the community and let people know as your schedule continues to expand, because it'd be, again, really excited to bring you into the mix and get you involved with our patients, get you involved with the community, and, get those healing hands and that perspective you have out there doing some good work for people.
Yeah. I think background is really interesting, Ranim, and I think it would be nice for you to tell our patients a little bit about your background and how you became a chiropractor and what you've studied. You have a very versatile resume, more than most providers. You've lived a life already.
That's
and
true.
I think it's great to share that a little bit with people.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, being an EMT showed me the critical side of healthcare. And I was attracted to helping people, not just during their critical moments, but after that, like when they're recovering. So I was interested in that aspect of healthcare. And then I got my physiology degree from University of Washington. And then I moved on to my chiropractic school after that, down in Portland, Oregon, Western States. And as for career-wise, yeah, I've been all over the place. I've been an Arabic teacher. I'm bilingual. I speak Arabic fluently. And so I've been an Arabic teacher. I've worked retail. I've owned a business before. So quite a vast background, I would say.
I love it. I mean, that only helps, right? It helps with your ability to connect with people, to understand what they're going through, to know the different challenges people have and different jobs and different occupations.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and that informs your treatment plans, right? It's like, oh, I get it. I know what it's like to be on your feet all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, or have to lift heavy things or do awkward stuff in your work. These are the problems that we need to solve for here, because these movement patterns are going to keep coming up again and again based on your job.
Definitely.
That's awesome. So you were down at Western, you went to UW, and then where did you meet Lee then?
I went to UW first and then Western.
Okay. So was Lee at Western? Or was
No, at Western, yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, great. Sweet. When it comes to so we're recording this, it's kind of near the end of January. And so from what I understand, as we get into February, is kind of when we're looking at seeing your schedule kind of open up a little bit more?
Hopefully, depending on the insurance processing.
Yep. So there's a little bit of some logistical pieces or whatever that we have to look at, but we'll get that figured out. And then from a hobby standpoint, again, I always like to fill in the dots for what do you do when you're not here, just from a hobby connection, family, friends, Washington State, what are some of the stuff that you do when you're not here at the clinic?
Well, definitely weightlifting. I weightlift at least 3 times a week. And outside of that, I like just long walks by the beach and family time, of course, and friends.
How long have you been in Washington State now?
Since 2017.
What do you think about, how do you vibe on, the weather and the nature and, what do you like about it? What do you hate about it?
I love it. I like the coolness for the majority of the year. I like being close to the water. And yeah, it's nice. Regardless of where you head, you are either by the mountains or by the water, which is fabulous.
He loves the rain, Barry.
Yeah, I get that. I loved the rain when I first
I love the rain too, because it means snow in the mountains.
See, there you go. Because I kind of wish it would just snow all the time now. Here, Because I was wondering if you're more like a water person. Like I like the rivers and the oceans and the lakes, or the mountains, or both.
More of a water person.
I was getting the water vibe from you. Okay.
In answer to the question on, when Ranim can start seeing patients, it's right now, patients are going to be extremely lucky because they get to see double doctors when they come in here. Dr. Ranim is on the rehab floor currently, helping our patients out with the exercise therapy, soft tissue portion of their care. She can already see any cash paying patients, and she can see any personal injury. So if you've been in a car accident, you can certainly see Dr. Ranim for care for that. And then we are, she'll be in with most insurance panels within a month or so. So we move pretty quickly, but right now patients will already have the benefit of getting to see her. And a lot of patients have already worked with Dr. Ranim because she filled in for Dr. Lee for almost 3 months while he worked a contract with Archbishop Murphy High School, supplying care for their athletes there. So I think a lot of people already know and recognize Dr. Ranim here. Yeah. Loved already, and well loved and well trained by the best of the best. So she's ready to go here to help care for people.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Ranim, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Been great to get to know you. Thanks for being on the show, and we look forward to see you out on the floor and in the clinic.
Thank you.
Awesome. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for being here, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Movement is Medicine show.